consulting on this idea, which is improving assessment. And it's not an easy task. I agree with you. Teaching practice is not something that moves quickly enough. Because it requires engaged educators, and I'm not saying anything negative about educators, because I really do think, at least where I am, like, the workload is ridiculous and they just keep adding to it, keep taking away resources. But yes, I was just talking about assessment and AI, but let me just give some things that have worked for me. So if you are doing online assessments, which in general you are, and even if you're doing in-class learning, if kids are working at home or they're using word processing, etc., then you have this exact same problem. So 2 really good ideas that have worked for me, and these come from development with like an English department and some colleagues of mine. So number 1 is to make the assignments specific, and you have to always update them. And what that means is, let's say you're teaching Hamlet. You can never do an assignment just on Hamlet, because there's an extensive amount of information available around Hamlet. So anything that you come up with, it'll have been done. So what you do is you take something that's really specific and you ask them to somehow incorporate it or compare it. So it might be, here's a really obscure poem, or like you write the poem or you generate the poem or something, or you say, here's an article, and then you say, let's talk about this. So one thing that we do in my grade 12 course is we look at Death of a Salesman, and then we looked at like Arthur Miller's essays, and then you look at like his idea of tragedy, and then you compare that to Hamlet. So it's much more difficult to find that available online. Now AI is going to cause some problems with that, because depending on what you're comparing, it might have context. So again, that's why it would need to be something really obscure, but then the student could probably copy and paste it in. But at least there's more steps, at least there's more higher level. What I find is to just decrease the lift of the actual assignment. So in like a university level course where students are supposed to be writing essays, you can teach the process of writing essays, and you can teach essays, and you can evaluate essays without writing tons of essays. So of course they need to at least write 1 essay for sure, but we tend to do like focusing on like chunking the work into like the planning process. So like really slowing down the planning process and let that be much more part of the assessment. And then that is done in stages where, you have a back and forth. So a student can't just get an essay. And even if they do get the end product essay and then work backwards from it, in the very least, they're now deconstructing that work to understand, hopefully, the process, at least something. What that looks like is, generate a thesis, generate your supporting points, find the quotations, but then only write 1 paragraph, or like plan out the paragraphs, but don't actually write the entire essay. And so we usually do like 1 or 2 paragraphs for that.